This is Cannabis Church on September 26, 2021, and we are live on MWE Networks at Twitch for video and live on Clubhouse for audio listeners. Thank you for watching this on your YouTube channel or listening to the official Cannabis Church podcast later on. These are my opinions and do not represent the views or opinions of anyone else but me. I'm not selling any cannabis here, and I'm not, or anywhere, and I'm not here to save your soul. But I do have shirts available, and so does KC. Welcome to Sunday service, where we preach about the holy healing plant, God's gift to Mother Earth and our sacred sacrament. No judge, just love. All pronouns, faiths or faithless, are welcome at Cannabis Church. We are here to end the stigma of the devil's lettuce and connect to better wellness personally, spiritually, socially, and for the planet. Whether you need to connect to humanity or the universe or the great creator of your choice, or if you just need good vibes and to meditate with love and light, all are welcome with green grace and in this safe and brave space. My name is Nydia, and I am a Ganja Clergy woman. I am also a cannabis wellness advocate and educator. I live in Michigan, and I'm also a canna mother. The labels can go on and on for days regarding all the boxes that I can check when asked on a questionnaire or when asked to fill out any kind of formula. I like to consider myself the pronoun Om, just love. I, like you, am a human being, not a human doing. And I love that. When Casey asked me to do this particular sermon, first of all, it was weird as hell to think about it as a sermon. But I allowed my long-ass drive to Tennessee and back, which were 10 hours each way, to kind of give me the message. And a few words came up. Besides self-acceptance, through spirituality and ceremony, other words came up like self-authority and self-sovereignty. And what does that mean? In the cannabis industry, we have a lot of dialogues and a lot of narratives. Is it social equity that we're seeking for? Is it systemic equity that we're seeking? These are hard conversations to have. But instead of having these outward conversations, let's have conversations about self. One of the most difficult conversations to have. It's one of the most difficult conversations I've ever had with myself. And that's why I decided to share it with you today. So, according to the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, self is defined as three different things. It's defined as the total, essential, or particular being of a person or individual. What the hell does that mean? The second definition is individuality. What makes you different than everybody else? What makes you individual? And the third is ego. Consciousness of being or identity. Then when we look, so first of all, the first question is to ask, do we even fucking agree with that definition? That is the very first question to ask. My identification has no longer become with the ego. It's become with this universal concept of love. From one day, it could be this pink cloud of dust that walks through the woods and blesses the trees and communicates with the mycelium complex and listens to the trees, and or it could be this person that just lets go of everything else and decides to dance in the middle of the street because there's an art installation that allows you to become an angel. And so you do that in front of all of these people and you just let go. So is the definition of self, what is the definition for self for you, I guess would be my first question. Because I don't agree with that. Myself is myself is a combination of the subconscious, of the conscious, of the observer, and the thinker, of all that I possibly can be and all that I am not currently. So then we look up other words like authority and sovereignty. Authority has, let's go back. Self-acceptance, was the first word that came to me, and that's defined as the act or state of understanding and recognizing one's own abilities and limitations. That's the definition of self-acceptance. Acceptance alone is defined as the act or process of accepting, the state of being accepted or accepted. It's a favorable reception or approval. So when you define yourself, do you have a favorable reception or approval of yourself? Linda Arnold once said, in each moment, you're either practicing self-acceptance or you're judging yourself. And that's true whether you're criticizing someone else's work, whether you're criticizing someone else, whether it's how they dress, whether it's how they run their business, whether it's how they breathe, whatever, how they eat. Those questions came up. So then when I look at self-authority, it's the power to, or just authority, the power to give orders, to make decisions or enforce obedience. A person or organization having power or control. And sovereignty is being supremacy of authority or rule. Do we have those of self, or are we just giving those away? For me, I can only speak for self. I know there's a lot of stories that have been parallel in terms of what I've heard here on Clubhouse and elsewhere, but cannabis allows me to tap into that area that I'm scared of going to, that place of self-authority, that place of self-sovereignty, that place of self-acceptance. It allows me to be brave enough to say, holy shit, I'm being triggered by that person that just cut me off, or holy shit, I'm being triggered by all the stressors, by the fact that my kid can't stop yelling my name, or the fact that I have to pay these bills, or the fact that I'm just not being in the now and accepting my presence as a present. So then we go into the definitions of spirituality and ceremony, because if I'm going to sit here and define acceptance and authority and self and sovereignty, what is spirituality? What is ceremony? And how does self-acceptance and spirituality and ceremony, how does that find cohesiveness? So spirituality is defined as, again, the very first question you have to ask when I say these definitions is, do I agree with that? Because these are the spells that are being cast upon us. This is the dictionary that we all go to look things up. So number one, spirituality is the state, quality, or fact of being spiritual. Point blank period. That's all you're required. A state, a quality, or a fact. That's it. The second one is a belief or a manner of pursuing religious life. The third is the clergy. You can go online and become a Universal Life Church clergy person in a matter of minutes. So if spirituality is defined by that, then what? It could take you 2 minutes? If it's just a state, a quality, or a fact, what are we running from? Why is it so scary? So the other way that it's been defined, or reformation, is to recover the origin shape of man. So the origin of the word spirituality is in the word reformation, or recovering the shape of man. It's the belief in supernatural. It's personal growth. It's a quest for ultimate or sacred meaning. It's a religious experience or an encounter with one's own inner dimension. Ceremony is defined as an act or series of acts performed according to tradition or prescribed from. It's performed in grand formal events or occasions. Beauty is the essential core of ceremony. So is it not ceremony? Is it not spiritual to bathe oneself? That's an encounter with one's own inner self. To anoint oneself with oils as you lotion yourself. Is it not ceremony or a grand formal occasion when you take some time to yourself, whether it be in nature? So I then started looking at different things like, how do you honor yourself in ceremony? How, there's a lot of how do you honor your ancestors in ceremony? Well, it took 4,000 something, almost 5,000 people for you to be here today. If you look at your parents and your parents' parents and your parents' parents' parents, and you keep on going down that lineage, there's been in a room with my mentor, artist Michael M., there's been certain talks about the possibility of everyone being traced down to a certain pool of genes. And so in honoring your ancestors, it is fundamentally honoring yourself. Because of them, you are here today. I am here today. We are here today. So how do you do that? Well, honoring one's own soul's purpose as a loving person. We are all love. We can all choose one or the other. They're all polarities. The second one is intentional actions towards yourself in honor of your ancestors. Whatever that means to you. If that means, whatever that means to you. However that looks. The third was to stay in direct communication with yourself. To listen. Some people can hear beings from other dimensions calling and speaking to them. Some people just hear ringing in their ears. Some people see butterflies a lot. Some people get coins left around for them. So, they come in different messages. These are yourself speaking to yourself. Sometimes it's the television. You're brainlessly watching it, and all of a sudden you catch one sentence. Write it down. That's you speaking to you. That's your ancestors speaking to you. The fourth is dream. Yeah, dream. In school, they used to tell you, stop daydreaming. No, dream. Please daydream. Please daydream. The fifth are those synchronicities that you see, those 1111s, those numbers, the walking, not walking into a room, but accidentally pushing a Clubhouse button and all of a sudden you're in a room and they're talking about just exactly the thing that you needed to hear. Or getting a message from someone on Instagram that just means the world to you and it just came randomly out of nowhere. These are those messages. These are those synchronicities. Please listen. That is you talking to you. That's the world just like ramming your head against a brick wall saying, hi, we're trying to talk to you. Please listen. So please listen. And the sixth is setting up space for yourself. Do you have space for yourself in your life? For yourself. Not for your passions, not for your business, not for anything else, but you. So, there's a few things that came up. There's from the Cannabis and Spirituality, written by Stephen Gray. There's a particular chapter in it called Who Is She? And it highlights Kathleen Harrison, who's an experienced sacramental medicine elder. But she's, quote, saying, a plant species may have chosen the human species as its partner in survival, migration, and reproduction, or Humans may have selected the plant species based on one or more of its special qualities. Either way, we can explore the mutual utility of a long, cooperative relationship. Cannabis allows us to tap into sections of us, allows us to heal one another as a community, allows us to pave a yellow brick road. And there's opportunity for all of us. There's opportunity for the caregiver market. There's opportunity for the commercial market. There's plenty to go around. But we must be seen as shepherds of this plant and students of this plant, and not masters of this plant. We must learn to humble ourselves and continue to learn as she teaches us, because she's been around for much longer than we have, and she has much more to teach us. In case you doubt the spirituality and ceremony around this plant, on page 71, starting on page 70 and leading to 71 of The Emperor Wears No Clothes, in Shintoism, cannabis was used for the binding together of married couples, to drive away evil spirits, and was thought to create laughter and happiness in marriage. In Hinduism, Krishna states, "I am the healing herb," while the Mangarat Brahma, 5th canto, describes hashish in explicitly sexual terms. In Buddhism, the Buddha himself used and ate. In Zoroastrians, the word magic is generally derived from that word, magi. Okay? And these were the wise men who attended the birth of Christ. The Essenes in ancient Israel used hemp medicinally, as did the Therapeutae from Egypt. And they were disciples or in the brotherhood with priests and the magicians of the Zoroastrians. It was used with the early Jews in Holy Sabbat, the Temple of Solomon, and inhaled incense burners that were filled with what they called at that time cannabisum. The Sufis of Islam, mystical priests who have taught, used, and extolled cannabis for divine revelation and insight and oneness with Allah for the last 1,000 years. The Coptic Christians in Ezekiel 34:29, "I will raise up for them the plant of renown, and they shall be no more consumed with hunger in the land, neither bear the shame of the heathen any more." And the biblical secret incenses and the sweet incenses, anointing oils, were from cannabis. The Bantus from the Daga cults, which restricted cannabis use to the ruling men, but found it indispensable as medication for cramps, epilepsy, and gout, and as a religious sacrament. The Rastafarians, who use the sacred sacrament to communicate with God, or Jah. The bottom line is this plant ties us all together. For at least since the 27th century BC, it unites and incorporates many cultures and many religions. So it's not she that she belongs to us, we belong to her. Just as we belong to the earth and everything else that is around us. And it is not what I'm asking you to do is to worship a plant. I'm asking you to surrender yourself to yourself. In church, there comes that point where they're like, "Oh, give your life to Jesus and do that." No. Please, don't give your life to anybody else. Give your life to you. Make space for you. I think with that, I'm done. Thank you, Casey. I appreciate it. Many blessings.
That was beautiful. I am grateful. And what a perfect way to end what the conversation began. raise your hand if you want to come up
You gotta
and
get on
enjoy
Clubhouse
each other's
so
company
you
and
can listen.
conversation wherever it goes for as long
This
as
is
it
gonna be a
goes.
good conversation.
I'm going to make some of you guys moderators so you can pull your friends up too.
Thank you so much for joining. I don't even know how to chat. This is my first time on Twitch. So I don't even know what I'm doing, but thank you for coming. I appreciate y'all. I got a little